Hey guys, thanks for coming back and joining me on the Modern Samurai Project podcast. It's a podcast that the people that have chosen a self-reliant lifestyle. I talk to guests and anything from fitness to martial arts to firearms, asking people questions about how to get better specifically. Today we have Matt Shockey out of the Houston, Texas area. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his background and even more importantly, why he started the incredible task of having the annual Shooters Symposium event. So that being said, I'll let him go ahead. Matt, how you doing tonight, brother?
Good, man. How about you?
Yeah, living the dream, dude. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Man. All right, brother. So let's go right into it, man. A little bit about yourself, what you do, and what has got you running ragged these days.
So I guess these days it'd be by night. I'm a full-time cop. Been doing it about 10 years now. Just recently, this past summer, I moved back to the streets. Spent 5 years in training division as a range master, and then recently promoted to sergeant on night shift. So that's my life in a nutshell. I'm also serve as one of the assistant team leaders on the SWAT team for a county team that we have. And then probably the biggest thing I have going, or the most time-consuming task I have going, is the ranch, which is the location, the range that we have where we host Shooter Symposium, where we are trying to open up as a club here in the very coming future, but also co-aligns with getting ready for Symposium, which I have to keep reminding myself at this point is only really 3 months away. It seems
crazy,
like
dude.
just ended. But yeah, I mean the calendar has rolled to 19, so it's time to kick it into high gear. So this will be, obviously, as you know, the second annual Shooter Symposium, and a lot bigger, better, more extravagant than last year's. The way that Symposium actually came to be is that besides, having my own range, I've actually spent quite a bit of time in other training, not, at my place, but also, I mean, anywhere from Alliance to Darcy to, I mean, everywhere around the state. And, I never got a chance to train with Pat Rogers, but obviously know full well who he is, especially from, guys that I've trained with. And so I had kind of seen the Friends of Pat thing, the different training conferences, and it had always kind of sat in the back of my mind. And I like the idea of that aspect. And then actually, a lot of people here would probably know him. He's not as active as these days online, but Mike Martin from AT Armor. Mike called me, probably would have been early summer last year, or sorry, well, at this point, 2017. We got talking about it. He's like, man, why don't you do something like that? And so, anyways, one thing led to another. I didn't really have a full grasp of the situation. And last year was 6 guys.
6.
Oh, 7.
Yeah. I don't know if it was. I think it was 6. You're adding this year. It's 9, right?
No. This year it's 11.
Oh shit! This year it's 11.
11. Yes.
I think it was 6. Well, let's go through those. And, yeah, look at the picture back there. So it was Fisher, me, Cowan, Brokos, Reston, and who am I missing? And Bell. That was it. 6.
You got Fisher already?
Yeah, I already got Fisher. He was
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this year you are adding.
Wait. Did you count Chuck?
Oh, Chuck. Okay, so 7.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So this year we're adding Pannone, Bob Vogel.
Yep.
Craig Douglas, and Kerry Davis.
So a total of 11. Good Lord Almighty.
We kind of took what the first year's group was, and then kind of just almost added more diversity to it in terms of a training standpoint.
Yeah.
Where, obviously you got Vogel from the competition side. his resume speaks for himself. And then, we brought Kerry in for the medical side of the house. We didn't have medical last year. Craig Douglas, I mean, it goes without saying, Craig on the
combatives, entangled fight.
Is probably one of the most, I don't know if it's the right word, but one of the most undertrained aspects in the training industry in terms of concealed carriers. And then brought Pannone in because Pannone has a real refined focus on the concealment aspect and drawing and fighting from concealment. And so it kind of brought that whole well-rounded kind of edge together to kind of give you the complete package, even though you can't train with everybody. You can train with 6 guys. So in 3 days' time. Or I'm sorry, if you take Pressburg class, 7 guys you can train with.
At night.
But yeah, we kind of just loosely kind of ad-libbed last year. I don't want to say loosely ad-libbed. There was a lot of structure, a lot of plan to it. But I tell people, last year, guys were like, man, I came to Symposium. I learned a lot. And I used to joke people, and I said, while you guys were learning, I probably learned more than anybody here during this entire event. Because I saw a lot of, deficiencies, if you will. I sent out surveys last year. I think I got about 65 of them back. And I told people, I'm sending it on SurveyMonkey. It's going to be anonymous. I want true feedback. Don't fluff it and sugarcoat it. Oh, it was a great event. There were some people that, just not outright blasted it, but some people that came clean and were like, hey, this was BS. This sucked. And, I'm a big boy. It doesn't bother me, And so those are the things that we were able to take and kind of expound on for next year based on that feedback that we got. Where I realized that, some things that I thought that people had seen, if you will, they really hadn't. We really kind of put that fire out beforehand. But I mean, just small, subtle stuff like target stands, for example, the shit show on Saturday, I think it was, where the wind had kicked up and target stands are blowing everywhere. We're filling sacks.
How are you going to see that coming, dude? I mean, it was 37 degrees in Texas.
Yeah.
In April. How are you going to see that?
It's just one of those things that I didn't even plan for. Like this year, it's not even a concern because I'm using a new company out of Austin called ATR for target stands. I don't have to worry about wind at all. Just things like that. And we tried to do this event with way too little staff. That was a big thing. So took all the anyways, let me back up a second. So got with Mike, we kicked it off, right? It kind of gained steam and then it kind of puttered off and then it gained steam again as it approached. And last year we had after several people, for whatever reason, work, family, etc., had to back out. I think that we came to a final count of 96 students last year. This year it'll be at 180. And so last year we had a couple of vendors out there, Unity Tactical, Sons of Liberty Gunworks, Big Tex, Surefire, Rail Scales.
Trying to think who else was out there.
What were the guys with the bipods?
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Was it?
I could see the product. I could see their face. I could see the guy who was a really nice guy. I just can't remember the name of his product, and I feel like an asshole right now.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Sorry, man.
So real quick preface before we go on. Let me give a little preface to everybody here, or a little fair warning. Shockey is very, 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 very hard on himself. Our instructor hot wash was him apologizing for stuff, and I'm like, dude, like most of you guys know, look, I'm non-mil, non-LE, but I've been a businessman for 25 years. And I've seen trade shows and conventions that were, that basically were nothing but a shit show of herding cats. This was a very well-run thing. I mean, if someone needs to apologize about wind and cold in Texas in April, 37 degrees, dude, how are you going to see that coming?
I've never seen that before. That was crazy.
That was nuts, and it is what it is. Some of the feedback I got, right, because we're going to get some of the things we're going to improve on later on, blah, blah, blah. But some things, dude, people are just going to complain. Some of the feedback I got on was like, well, the 4-hour blocks weren't enough. I'm like, dude, there's 7 other instructors here. If we didn't do 4-hour blocks, you'd be training with 2 people.
Well, and for example, that was some complaints I got, and I acted on it. So this year we're offering 4-hour and 8-hour.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there you
So
go.
now, granted, the instructors that are 8 hours are only 8 hours, and the instructors that are 4 hours are only 4 hours. It's not like one day they're doing an 8-hour, one day they're doing 4 hours. So if you want to train with that instructor, you've got to go along with the schedule. But let's say, for example, you really want to get some concealment time. You can go spend with time with Pannone. And then I don't know if you've done these classes yet, but half of your classes are kind of like the accelerated red dot.
Yeah.
Where you got guys that are a little bit, that they're good with their dot now.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, yeah. But for example, they want to go on and just do 4 hours with you and push the gun as hard as they can on the advanced fundamentals, but then they can go still sneak in 4 hours of Kerry Davis, for example. Get up there training.
Or the low light with Pannone.
The
low light with Pannone, which I think starts at like what, 4 or 4:30 or something like that.
Yeah, it's part of the ranch. With the club, we're greatly the existing ranges we have are undergoing a huge improvement modification, and then we're also adding a couple of ranges. So with that, we added some capabilities, but there was still some logistical plan that had to play into it to ensure that the overlap was there, that there was enough facility usage for everybody, if you will, having range, and then also not making it so that it was just everything was 9 to 5, so to speak, so that you could go and take Instructor A's class and then still take Instructor B's class that evening, and it wasn't such a pick and choose. You had a kind of a wide variety with low light, daytime, etc. But yeah, in regards to the 4 hours, there were some, and there were a lot that liked it. You know what I mean? There was a lot where like, hey man, this was a buffet. You gonna get a little scoop of everything. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the ideology of Symposium is that there's gonna be, you got dudes like Gabe Rivera, in Southern California, that probably train with all 11 dudes on the roster. But very few people that are going to be at Symposium have trained with all 11 instructors. And so it's like,
that is true. Yeah, but that's almost his job, though. But
yeah. And some guys are like, man, it was, I've heard good things about Jedi, or I've heard good things about Brokos, or whatever. And now instead of you having to commit to a 2-day class and travel, you get to go test out everybody. You know what I mean? Like, man, that class was the shit. You know what I mean? Well, I need to look at his schedule and find out when is he near me for a 2-day class. And it's not meant to kind of leave you hanging, but you're going to leave the 4-hour class, and if you liked it, you're going to want more, because you're not going to get what you wanted in just a 4-hour time period, or really, honestly, in an 8-hour time period. So it's designed for you to get a lot of exposure to instructors, really find out kind of what your cup of tea is, so to speak, because regardless of how good of an instructor you are, you're going to have some students that come through with removing personality, where your style of teaching just doesn't resonate with them.
Sure.
And that's okay, so that guy can be like, man, he's a good guy. I just didn't feel like I learned a lot, so I'm not going to go see him, versus I go over there and, man, that just everything he said clicked with me. I'm going to go back home to, Washington or Chicago, or, go back home to Maryland, and I need to find out where this guy, when he's coming close to me, and I'll go then, so it's, don't get me wrong. You're not going to leave after 4 days of Symposium and not have learned anything. You're just not going to be, a master in one skill set like you would if you went to a 2-day dedicated red dot class, or a 2-day dedicated concealment class. Or so most people understand that. Some guys felt like they wanted a little bit more, and that's all right. With 100 people, no different than attendees versus a class. I'm not going to have every single last person there be pleased about every aspect of the event, but if as a general consensus, the people were happy, they liked what they got, the classes went good, the scheduling was good, the logistics were good, then the event was good.
Yeah, 100%. The funny thing is that for example, you have guys like Tom Gorman, right? Who he and I were talking about, and I've probably had like Tom, I have probably had, shit, what did I teach? I think in the 2 days I probably did 50 to 60 students, right, between the 4-hour blocks.
What, last year?
Right. Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Something
You had
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
I
had
will
about
tell
15 per class, and it was 2 days last year. So yeah, somewhere around
yeah,
50 to 60.
60.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I've probably had 15 plus returning students from that.
Mm-hmm.
So from an instructor standpoint, it's advertising, it's marketing. We're getting paid extra, so people can just see. And then, but like Tom, I was talking to him, and it was like, yeah, I went to Shooters Symposium, and I see what you say, and I see what Blower says, and it seems like a lot of stuff is redundant. So I wanted to get a taste to see if I'm going to spend my money, should I go here or should I go here? What he wound up doing after doing the classes is, I need to train with both you guys again.
Yeah.
So it was a good time. So the other thing were the extracurricular activities, right?
So that's actually going to be way better this year.
Dude, I don't even understand how it could be way better, because it was pretty damn epic last year, dude.
So this year, it's not going to be you guys, right?
Okay.
We've got some ROs coming in, and again, one of the biggest mysteries I had last year was the scheduling aspect of it, right? With Wood, the way that I schedule things, would they follow order? Because it looks good on paper, but real life is real life. And let's be honest, 100 dudes, and the dudes that we're talking about in this context is like
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned a lot from that. And so actually this coming year, if you will, here in 3 months, there's actually going to be far more competitions spread out amongst the ranges.
Cool.
Cooler competitions. I'm not going to say them here on the podcast because we want to keep some of them a secret until then.
I'm dry firing.
Yeah. And so the ROs will be keeping track.
Okay.
It won't be such a short time window because what I found last year is you had a lot of guys like I think it was what you and Blowers were doing the
25-yard BA, yeah, which
yeah.
was a good time. There was massive shit talking done.
But the problem with that drill though is that you had guys that were having a lot of fun and wanted to do it more, and there just wasn't enough time, So that was on me because I didn't schedule enough time. So it's going to span all day, with the instructors, guys can bounce from the ranges and kind of BS with guys, but you're not so locked in with the clipboard, so to speak. And obviously, the part that made the competitions and the extracurricular stuff really fun was the prize table.
Talk about that.
And all I can say is, last year's prize table was chump change compared to this year.
So we're not going to say his name, but the guy who won the B8 with me and Bill, right? I think somehow we wound up like we had the modified Navy qual, right, for rifle, and then we had the B8 competition, and I don't know if we Rochambeau'd it or the higher percentage on each one won, but the guy who won the B8 got his first pick. And what did he wind up? He wound up getting a Hodge upper, a couple Surefire lights, a holster, a Safariland holster.
He also got a can too.
And he got a can. So my man walked away with $3,000 legit.
No, I actually think it was closer to 5.
Jesus.
Yeah, because he had I think it was closer to 4 because I actually went through, at general retail, not necessarily MSRP, and it was a pretty stout package.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say his name, but that dude is one of the most awesome guys out there. And he and his wife are actually coming back. So.
Yeah, and if he, I can say that Surefire alone, to give a clue to everybody, will make last year's prize table be like, that's cute compared to what will be with Surefire, what they're coming alone. I know Sons of Liberty is going to be bringing out some stuff. All the vendors are. And we have exponentially increased the amount of vendors that are coming.
Yeah.
We're up to like 15 or 16 now.
Nice.
It's not going to just be, tables with an easy pop-up shade. It's actually going to be a big tent, if you will. I think we got a 40 by 60 tent. It's going to be climate controlled for the vendors.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
And then there's actually going to be a vendor range for you to go and demo vendor products. So like Surefire is going to be over there, Walther, Sons, Rail Scales. I mean, there's going to be like, I think there's like 8 or 9 vendors that are going to be in one of our bigger ranges. So you can go over there and test fire a Surefire can, or Walther's got some new guns. You can go over there and test fire their stuff. Versus just kind of looking at it in a booth. And most of them will have 2 locations, one there up front and then one there at the range. B.E. Myers is going to be there, so I'm not sure exactly. I don't want to speak for B.E. Myers, but they may have some malls, and I'll work with them as it gets closer. Maybe they'll allow people to do a shoot on that range, the vendor range, when most of them will be packing up. Obviously, B.E. Myers doesn't really shine with their product until the sun goes down. So when the sun goes down, they'll have that, and then we will have a continuous from sun up until 10, 11 o'clock at night, an open zero range. So as guys are coming in, they can go out there and zero their pistols, go out there, zero their rifles. Guys are traveling and getting on planes, worried about optics getting bumped, and you're going to shooting competitions. Last year, the zero range was a little bit sloppy in planning on that, and so we're going to take care of that, and we'll have an RO out there all day, and guys can go out there and throw up a B8 if you want to zero your red dot on your pistol, or if you got a 50 or 100-yard zero, go throw up your target.
Yeah.
Come back, get in the pro and do your thing, and then go hop over and jump into competitions. And so my hope is that guys can eat their heart out, so to speak, in competitions. And then in between that, taking breaks, they can go stop in the vendor tent, BS with the vendors, and then the structure though last year, like we had there at night, we brought everybody together to do the prize tables, which was a good time. Will be a lot like what we did last year this year. And then again, we'll have the open bar, all that kind of stuff. I'm working actively right now how I'm going to counteract Brokos and Reston's attempts to burn down my freaking front yard. Where all the
Listen, bro, that was epic though. I'm partially to blame for that though. I'm just saying that right now.
I mean, it just it's I think it's October now. Sorry, it was December. I think by October, the grass had just finally started to grow back. And I'm looking at it, and I'm telling Reston I'm going to build a fire pit. I'll bring a trailer, and he's just trying to. He doesn't want to hear it. He likes the logs to be on the ground.
So I don't think you know how that. I don't think you know how that started, right? So we're walking out, and it was cold that day, right? I'm like, this is such a nice facility. You'd think they have a pit. And Brokos goes, well, I see a swell right over there. Somebody get me a briquette and a twig. Next thing you know, we got a 6-foot bonfire going.
Well, the funny thing is we used to have a pit over there next to the overhang for the main range.
Yeah.
And nobody ever used it, so we got rid of it. And then he comes over there just trying to burn down the place. What are you doing, bud? Burn down the place. Dad forgot to lock the door. Just trying to burn down the place. And so we'll make it a bigger fire. I'm going to compromise with Jared. Bigger fire with Dan too. Bigger fire, more spectacular, different spot, maybe a little bit farther.
But that was a good time too, right? So one of the other aspects of it is that, you go to a training thing and maybe you have dinner after TD1 and the instructor gets overwhelmed between the 10 to 20 students they have at dinner, and you never feel like you can give the appropriate amount of attention to everybody that's attended your class. But with Shooters Symposium last year, around the fire, you had, 7 instructors there that you could kind of go talk to, and everybody was just kind of having a good time, And then we were all, I don't know if Ike's doing it this year, but last year, these glasses that he donated.
I would be willing to bet that Ike will be. Just
outstanding.
Yeah, and that's another aspect of Symposium too, is that as much as it was about the classes, about the vendors and stuff too, it was also kind of that social aspect where you have a lot of guys that come to the Symposium that know each other, so to speak, from a social media aspect.
Yep.
But I've never got the opportunity to meet in person. And so that's what happened a lot last year. And one of the things that we learned last year was the whole name tag thing did not work out well. So actually this year, as part of the ranch for the club, Members are getting, like hard plastic IDs that have RFID readers in them, to scan
Okay.
in.
Okay.
And they're actually very cheap the way that we produce them because we bought the equipment. So this year, everyone will be getting hard plastic IDs with their name on them that you can wear. Because last year, a lot of times you're like, the IDs were supposed to be like, man, I think I recognize that guy, but I'm not real sure. And you can't see his name, so you're like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't follow up, and he's the wrong person. But this year with the hard plastic IDs, there'll be no question about it. And said like, that looks familiar. And you see his name tag, we'll have the name big. You're like, oh shit, I've been talking to this guy for 3 years on Facebook, in the different gun groups and stuff. And now you can go up and
Yeah.
get, and
Yeah, that dude's Bagadoosh 556 on that one
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Or, oh, this is the guy's been talking shit. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Having to go Jerry Springer, Steve, and breaking up people. But
Exactly.
yeah, that was one of the things that we're going to step our game up on. Hang on, bud. And we're really going to kind of kick it up a notch this year on food too. So a lot of people had really good things to say last year about the food, especially a lot of your out-of-state people for the Texas barbecue, and we're going to kick it up to the next level this year. And the word must have got around because you have the option this year on registration to sign up and prepay your lunches, and about 8 out of 10 people at this point have. The other 2 people, I think, just weren't there last year. They'll pay for that.
They'll understand when they get there. Yeah. Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's kind of recap the instructors that are going to be there, right? What they're teaching for everybody. You can start with me to get me out of the way, and then we'll go from there.
There's actually a lot going on with Symposium, so let me cheat a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely, dude. That's a lot of stuff to remember.
Yeah. So let me go down the list. So a 4-hour block with Bob Vogel, and he'll be teaching for each 4-hour block effectively 6 classes over the 3 days will be the world-class pistol skills, which is going to be basically just pushing your gun to the brink of, limits of how fast a human can push a gun. And he's going to be trying to clean up those micro inefficiencies, with obviously a competition influence in there,
Yeah, but anybody will benefit from Bob's stuff. He's just
I don't care if you're a cop, you're military, whatever the case may be. The whole tactical versus competition stuff, that's for another day. It's a stupid conversation. You benefit from both kinds. I'm just saying Bob's main focus and influence is a competition, but I don't care what kind of shooter you are, you will benefit from it without a doubt.
Yeah, a little for those of the people out there that don't compete, that live under a rock, who don't know who Bob Vogel is. So Bob has been a long-time law enforcement officer, currently reserved now. He is a IPSC world champion and a multiple-time USPSA champion.
20-time U.S. national champion.
I think that's a little high, but whatever. Bob's great. He's awesome.
Well, I'm sorry. I know on one of them he has 20 time.
I think that might be Ohio sectional.
Overall, I'm sorry, I spoke. Overall winner of 100+ state, national, world championship matches.
Yeah. But the biggest ones were IPSC, which is for everybody who knows, USPSA is the American division of IPSC. Right.
Here's where I got wrong, right? So he won a combined 20 straight IDPA national, indoor national, and world championships.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Which that's legit. That's so technically you were right. I didn't know it was that many. Good Lord Almighty.
Yeah, just different disciplines, not all one. Yeah.
Yep. And not shooting a Gamma gun. He shoots his Glock 35 or 34.
Shoots production. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So next up is Mike Pannone, which most are going to know, and he's doing his covert carry with a spin. He's doing covert carry with, low light. So Pannone's class is 2 to 10. Let me check on that real quick. So that way he's covering the fundamentals of it all. Yes, Mike is 2 to 10. So he's going to, the first in April, you're looking at about 6:45-ish. Is when the sun will go down.
Okay.
So you got a first solid 4 or 5 hours of Mike covering the principles of what he teaches in terms of holster selection, placement of the holster, drawing, what to do to your cover garment, et cetera, et cetera. And then you get the unique aspect, because as most people in this world of concealed carry know, there's a higher probability for things to go bad if they're going to go bad when the sun's down. So now Mike covers the aspects of, you using a weapon light, or you using a handheld you carry in your pocket. So it's kind of a unique aspect where you get the best of both worlds in his course of daytime and nighttime. And so his is going to be an 8-hour course. Next up, you got Craig Douglas. Again, going to be an 8-hour class, and this will be, kind of a 9 to 5 class, if you will. It's all daytime hours. And it's going to be grappling in a weapons-based environment is the name of the course. And if you don't know Craig, you need to go look him up. He's kind of the godfather of combatives when it comes to concealed carries. And this is going to be an off the range class, right? So this is going to be, down and dirty, where you're wrestling around, and it got you're trying to defend your weapon that you have an appendix carry, in a pit almost, kind of simulating that everything was all in well. You were going to shoot this guy that's trying to rob you, except the part that you never got a chance to go to your gun. Right. He was on top of you before you got a chance to go to your gun. So now this is Craig covering everything that you can about defending your gun, and retention, and how to defend and fight off to get to the point where you can then shoot your gun. So again, it's
or you went to your gun too quick and now it's our gun.
Yes, you're fighting over your gun. Yep. Absolutely. He does have some blade work in there too, with the training blade. So guys that carry blades, we'll get that aspect too. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on in Craig's class, especially if you're new to combatives. So you're only 8 hours. You're going to walk away with probably more questions than answers, but that's okay because Craig travels the country. So you can find one of his classes. Next up is Aaron Cowan. And this year kind of a revamp. Last year, he's doing the same class as last year, which is the force focus fundamentals, except this year it's going to be an 8-hour block. And that is taking basically, let's say, Pannone's class and Craig's class, and now we're putting it into force on force. And so it'll be all drawing a blank. Not enough sleep. The stem round manufacturer.
UTM?
UTM, yes. Yeah. It's all going to be UTM this year. And so, if you're not the CC8 or the CCW carrier or CC8, CCW scenario role player that go around, you'll still be involved as a bad guy or a role player as a person that's part of the crowd, etc. So it's a pretty hands-on class because there's not a lot of sitting around that can sometimes happen in force-on-force classes. And again, obviously, this will be an off-the-range class. And we're working on something right now to get a structure out there for Aaron, so that it can replicate anything from a house to a store to etc. You'll be put in scenarios and allowed to act if it was real life, and then you'll get feedback and critique at the end of that given scenario. And like I said, the cool thing is that when your turn is up, you go, but when you're done, you're not necessarily done. You still get to go and be a role player, a bad guy. And they're still absolutely learning from that. You get to watch what this guy did, listen to the feedback, et cetera, et cetera. Next up is Brokos, and his will be an 8-hour block. And this one's going to be 3P to 11P. And he is doing a urban gunfighter. So kind of a mixture of a whole bunch of good stuff, right? Yep. I think I have to get him a vehicle out there too. So there's going to be, I had to get him a vehicle out there, a couple vehicles out there. And so there will be how to move around vehicles, 1- and 2-man positions. And then again, kind of like Pannone's, it starts at 3 o'clock. So you'll get 3 or 4 hours with Dan covering principles and whatnot during the daytime hours. And then come nighttime, you get to incorporate this kind of stuff with the lights out, so to speak, because if you can do it at nighttime, you sure as hell can do it during the daytime.
Yep.
And so again, 8-hour block for Brokos, teaching urban gunfighter from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Next up is Reston, doing 2 different courses. So each day, each of the 3 days in the morning time, he'll be doing a shooting on the move block. And this is kind of just more of I don't necessarily want to say an introduction, but this is kind of a basic principle class on shooting on the move. And so Jared's going to talk about how exactly you move. There's a lot of misconceptions with shooting on the move. You got people doing an exaggerated Groucho walk, and you got people that are just, walking like Frankenstein. And so just covering how do I move when I have to shoot and the times that it's necessary, but still allow my stuff to be stable enough. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., Jared's teaching that class. Then in the afternoon times from 1 to 5, he's teaching introduction to room clearing. And for your guys that are in SWAT, even your seasoned cops, you can absolutely learn something from this class, but understand it's a very basic class. It is when I come into the room, I'm going left. When I come into the room, my job is to go right. This is a center fed. This is a corner fed room. And this is more for the people that really haven't had any kind of formal CQB training, if you will. And this absolutely applies to home defense scenarios. People say, well, I'm not going to go hunting in my house if somebody breaks in. Well, you don't have an option of that if you have kids.
Yeah.
And your kids are sleeping across the house. Somebody kicks the back door, I'm getting to my kid's room. That's my number one priority at that point in time.
Right.
But I need to do it safely. And for guys that don't know Jared, I mean, his resume speaks for himself. The guy's been on SWAT for 10 plus years at this point. He's got numerous shootings under his belt. I mean, he is more than qualified to teach this topic and has done, at this point, probably a couple thousand room entries in a real world environment. Next up is you. And so I'm actually not going to speak for you. I'm going to let you tell you what you're teaching.
Oh, well, okay. So we got basically 2 blocks, right? I think I have the fundamental, right, for 2 classes.
Doing like Jared's doing. So
yeah,
morning blocks are your red dot class, and your afternoons are your accelerated one.
It is the accelerated one. So in the red dot, in the beginning one, think of your basic fundamentals, getting used to what is different, what actually shouldn't be different with your presentation, your grip, your draw, your stance, how to make the dot not move, shooting up close and at distance. And it's an exploratory thing for people to understand what the dot does, as opposed to when they shot iron sights, and how we can get, by doing less, you'll get more performance, especially with the dot. The advanced class, bunny ears, advanced class is basically going to be pushing everybody to get to my patch standards. Those standards are, a 3 and 2 drill at 3 yards and 2 seconds from a draw, a 1 second draw at 7 yards, a build drill at 7 yards under 2 seconds, and then 1 shot to an alpha, center alpha in 1.5 at 25 yards. What I do, I'm not going to say differently, but the focus will be on, I'm not just going to say, here's my standards, let's see how you do. I'm going to show you how to get to my standards, or at least how close you can get to my standards with your current level of skill. The biggest thing that I want to do is when I'm done with you, you will learn how to train and get better by yourself, right? So that's the difference between the 2.
And again, just to reiterate, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning time block is kind of your standard one, if you will.
Yep.
And then the afternoon one is kind of your accelerated one, which mostly, that was kind of for the guys that had been through, whether it was last year's or a lot of them have been through your 2-day class. So this is kind of just a continuation on for them.
Yeah.
Keep pushing them to the next level of their performance. All right, next up is Pocket Doc, Kerry Davis, and he is doing a 4-hour block, direct action response training. This is going to be kind of a classroom-based, but hands-on, where he brings dummies and stuff like that you can work on, applying tourniquets, applying pressure bandages, after he teaches you the correct way to do it, and then offers you some feedback. And so even for guys that have been through medical training, whether it's in the military and law enforcement, TCCC, Doc is, from the tactical aspect of medical care, kind of the cream of the crop, and can kind of likely give you a couple of nuggets of information that you either hadn't heard before or kind of expanding on what you already know. It can kind of help you be more efficient and that short time window you have to apply immediate aid. Um, and it's the same one over the 6 days
All four.
blocks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The great thing I can say about Kerry is not only do you learn how to do stuff, but here's the most important thing: he's not boring like some mud classes are.
Yeah. Kerry is a funny ass dude.
He is hilarious.
Very well. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Just genuinely a good dude. Next up, my man Bill Blowers. So at first we started off with Bill kind of doing some LE specific classes. We kind of quickly realized that wasn't quite fitting what the I'll say customer wanted, so we kind of changed it. So he's got 1 4-hour block. He's doing tactical carbine, which is kind of Bill's iteration of a, I don't want to say a basic carbine. I always kind of want to say like an intermediate carbine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say that and scare guys away who aren't studs on the rifle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This rifle class is for anybody. And I know you've trained with Bill before. The cool thing about Bill is Bill has got unique ways to do things where sometimes you're like, wait, how the hell did I think of that?
Yep.
I've trained with Bill, and I've also been a student of Bill's. And for a lot of guys, the benefit of Bill is that he was messed up at birth. He shoots a rifle right-handed, but he shoots a pistol left-handed. He writes left. I don't know. It's weird. He doesn't conform to normal humans. And so that'll be a 4-hour block. And let me make sure I don't get this wrong on the times for his. So, yeah, Bill is doing tactical carbine 1 to 5. So he will be an afternoon class for the guys. And then what he is also doing, which is kind of unique for the cops in the crowd, is he's doing a 4-hour block on night vision integration and program development for law enforcement. So I can't stress enough, this is not necessarily just SWAT guys, because there's actually been a couple of incidents up in Washington, which is his home state, not his agency though, where patrol guys have utilized night vision. And actually one of them got into an officer-involved shooting where he was able to get the jump on the suspect who was waiting to ambush him with the integration of night vision. So whether patrol or SWAT, whether you have night vision now or you're trying to get into it, Bill has got his team doing dynamic warrant services under night vision. He has come all the way up, So he's been a 26-year retired police officer. He's a sergeant. So he kind of gives his spin on things that he's learned throughout the years when it comes to implementation of the program with the team and getting them to accept it, all the way to how you deal with the admin and the expenses and all that stuff. So really unique class that I think will benefit a lot of the guys in there.
If that night vision talk that he does is anywhere close to his red dot lecture that he did at OTOA, it's going to be epic. I mean, everything from how to get your armorers up to speed, and how to find money for the budget, and if they still don't want to do it, how to approach city council in a semi-iron-handed way. It's good stuff.
Risk management. I mean, it's really informative. Not just tell the bosses you really need it. I mean, he tells you, risk management usually has excess funds in this area, and this is how you can approach them to get some of that. Talk about risk mitigation. I mean, it's really useful shit. I've been through tons of Bill's classes. I mean, just 3 months ago, I went through a SWAT TL class, and we walked away with a ton of stuff. Not to forget our non-cop people that are attending, though. He is doing a night vision fundamentals course that is just a standard course that was kind of a introductions meets intermediate, as you progress through it. So even if you're new to it or you've had it for a while, you're going to pick up stuff in there. And he's doing that each night from, I think 7 to midnight is the times for his night vision class. And then the last regular class we have is the Big Yeti, the Big Dumb Fisher, is low light practical urban carbine. And so he did this last year minus the low light portion. And this area was my biggest area this year for improvement. The long range sucked ass. Let me put it bluntly last year for it. This year, we're going to have 2 towers out there. We've got over 60 targets. We've got movers. I mean, it's going to be a complete 180 on it. And his class is going to be, I believe, 3 to 11 also. Yes, 3 to 11. So, again, you get some daylight time in there for fish to go over, because fish is a big, utilizes a lot of barricades. Talks about adverse ways to brace off of them, get a good firing position. And then at that point in time, once you start shooting, the sky's the limit, so to speak, on as you start to kind of climb the ladder on pushing the distance farther and farther back to 400 yards, 500 yards, up on the towers that we'll have out there. So then again, once the sun goes down, then he'll go into the aspects of how do I engage farther out targets in an urban setting when the sun goes down, because it gets a little bit trickier, especially when you're hitting 200 and 300 yards. Even with your awesome, scout weapon mounted lights, they only go so far. Yards, you're nothing. And last but not least is Chuck Pressburg, who I wouldn't even say arguably, in terms of available instructors out there, he is the top of the mountain when it comes to night vision, both from a science standpoint and telling you how it all works to operational point, because Chuck has done more operational shit under night vision than anybody I've ever met. And so he's got the best of both realms. And I haven't met a person yet who has been through Pressburg's night vision class and did not like it. And the cool thing that we're doing this year, again, like we did last year, is that Chuck's class is a bonus class. It does not count towards your 8 hours of training per day limit that we have in place. And most people have seen it, and so I'll cover it here in case there's somebody watching who hasn't signed up yet. There is 8 hour limit per day, right? So you can't take a morning class that's 4 hours and then an afternoon class that's 8 hours. You're limited to 8 hours a day. You say, well, I got time. Why can't I do it? It's like, well, you do, but if you want to keep Symposium at its current price, I got to limit you. Otherwise, Symposium would be like $1,800 a person.
Yeah.
A lot of expenses involved with it. So limiting it to 8 hours allows us to get more people in there. More people, you share the cost, because it is a very expensive event to put on. But Chuck's class doesn't count. However, Chuck's classes are sold out. He just don't. He's doing it on Friday night, Saturday night, and unfortunately, he's tapped out. He has 20 people per class. He tried to push it as far as he can, and he is he's maxed out. So, in a nutshell, and actually, where I'm looking at right now is the website. So, for guys that want to get more information on it, you can go to shootersymposium.com. And I mean, I've got anything from FAQs to how the event's going to work. It breaks it down by days, so that there's no mystery on, when do I arrive, or what time do we show up, or what do we do for registration. We break it all down, and then that's also the site where you can register if you choose to.
Yep, and go ahead and say, what's the cost for all 4 days?
So the stock cost is $900.
Okay.
And then there's several add-ons, right? So there's $75 for prepaid lunches, which Scott may be able to assess for what you're getting. It's pretty good value over 4 days.
100%.
4 different lunches.
You ain't gonna go hungry, I'll tell you that.
And we're not serving you. We didn't go to Subway and get a damn party platter. Last year we got close to 300 pounds of brisket. And it's cooked on site. The cooks that we have for it start at 7 o'clock in the morning cooking, getting ready for lunch. And then you have things to add on like T-shirts, for example. Lauren's going to be designing a T-shirt this year, and so guys will get that. And then have anything from we will have camping this year. You will have your own designated camping area, and we will have a shower trailer for guys that are camping, and that's only $75. Yes, $75 for 4 days out there and you'll have unlimited use of a shower trailer. It's going to be a nice one. It'll have several different doors. So if you're camping, you're not, out of luck, so to speak, on taking a shower. And it's going to be a isolated area away from the party and the noise and everything, and it'll be just for campers. And then we also have a couple of spots left for guys that are interested for RVs. And then if you are taking the Cowan or Reston's class of introduction to room clearing, it is a $40 charge per class, and that covers all of your UTM. So whether you shoot or you shoot 80, it covers your rounds. It covers your for Jared's class, your bolt, your bolt, for example. For Cowan's class, it'll cover the training pistol and then all the ammo for you. So it's all inclusive package and a deal that we work with UTM, and it's just a $40 one-time charge on top of that. The average person is paying right around $1,000, and that includes the prepaid lunches and the event T-shirt. So,
that's huge, man. I mean, that's not even $250 a day.
Yep.
Not even $250 a day.
You pay $400 or $500 for 2 days with one instructor. Here, and that cost there includes open bar the first night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The chance for an epic prize table, and everybody left with something. I think we had shirts. I mean, even some, like, I think Chuck brought a whole bunch of people, just brought shit, a whole bunch of stuff.
Look, you held that, the glass you held.
Dude, this thing right here, dude. Look at this.
Everybody got a glass.
Hold on. Everybody got a glass. I don't know if you can see that in the light and everything, but Shooters Symposium, dude, right there.
And
that's $100 glass right there.
I was gonna say, like I said, this coming year's symposium will be way better than last year. So, I'm probably gonna have to leave ourselves like an hour to an hour and a half to calculate everything up and organize all the winners like we did last year, because there's gonna be so many freaking prizes to hand out that we're gonna have to put our work in to get everyone organized by their scores and stuff. And like I said, last year's top prize guy, I mean, that dude walked away with a killer package. And I would venture to say this year there's going to be numerous packages like that.
Nice. So. Outstanding. I don't know if we mentioned the dates, but it is April 4th through the 7th. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People usually travel in on Wednesday. I know I am, and then flying out on that Monday. Yeah, dude, it's going to be an epic event. Honored to be invited last year. Honored to be invited this year. And dude, I had a blast last time. And
people, with what you're saying, I would encourage guys that are planning. Your best bet is to arrive Wednesday night and be out there early Thursday. Get those in with the competitions, and just to kind of go over our vendors this year. They will be out there with their booths, and they will also be offering prizes at a prize table. Now, let me clear the air right now. B.E. Myers is not putting a mall on the prize table. Don't ask me. I don't even have one, damn it. If they were one putting on a prize table, it probably still wouldn't be on the prize table because it'd be in Matthew Shockey's truck. But yeah, we've got
fair is fair, bro. Fair is fair, right?
Surefire is our main title sponsor. You'll see it. So Surefire is going to be out there with media crews. They're going to have the cameras. They're bringing a couple media personalities that everybody will know, which we'll announce at a later date as it gets closer, who's coming from with them. But expect to see a heavy presence from Surefire. They are our big sponsor. And then we've got B.E. Myers, Tendicore holsters, Big Tex Outdoors, Filster holsters, which everyone's seen with their new holster. Sons of Liberty Gunworks, STI will be out there. Again, STI will be one out there on the vendor range with their 2011s and stuff people get to run.
Awesome. Did I have anything to do with that, dude? Because their main gunsmith came to my Fort Worth class. I was like, have you I think they may already have. Never mind. I'm thinking of TTPOA. I'm thinking of TTPOA.
Okay. Yeah, because STI hit me up right after the event. I think what happened with some of these guys is that they were waiting to see how the first year went. And
Hey, guys, if you haven't had a chance, their new tactical, right, which is geared toward law enforcement in 2011, and that Omni, dude, those guns are the heat, man. They truly are the heat.
The bet, talking with them, they're going to have it out there. So come and you'll have the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Oh, definitely. They'll definitely have it out there, dude.
Yeah.
They'll definitely have that on there because, dude, that Omni is just that stuff's next level, bro. And Sean, I think that's his name. Again, not enough sleep, right? He came to my Fort Worth class, man, and that Omni ran 1,200 rounds over 2 days and it had been raining in Fort Worth when they had that really bad rain recently in October. So they got that dust, and it was humid, right?
Boom dust.
Yep, 1,200 rounds. He's dropping mags during the class. Zero malfunctions, man. Zero malfunctions.
And it ain't your standard 1911. This ain't your Kimber 1911.
Yeah.
We got Unity Tactical coming out again.
Cool.
Love Unity Tactical stuff. Local range, we got a local range that we work with, the partnership, Saddle River Range out of Woodlands. I think, did you do something? You went up there, didn't you? Saddle River up with Chris?
No, we were talking about it. He just couldn't get time in.
I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
he could. Yeah.
Okay. Rail scales will be out there again.
Okay.
Pain time targets. Local steel target manufacturer, local dose is coming out.
Cool.
Obviously, you got Lead Faucet Tactical with Brokos. He'll be coming out offering anything from his. I think his wife Juice is going to come out and run it and bring slings and all that kind of stuff that they're making.
Yeah, they got slings, base pads. He's got his 4N/hot hand stop.
Which I'll tell you right now on my entry gun for the team, I'm running his sling, and I'm a big fan. I like how venomous it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sling. Walther's coming out, and then Vortex is also coming out. And we got about 3 or 4 different, or probably about 5 more vendors that we're finalizing with right now. And I would suspect probably another 4 or 5 beyond that. And they'll all be in that. Tent there. And then the guys, obviously, it's applicable to. But I think even like the holster guys are going to be over there on the live fire range, so that you can actually draw from their holsters and whatnot.
Cool.
And utilize them on the range. So yeah, it's gonna be a heck of a time this year. It really is.
Outstanding. Okay, well, cool. That goes over everything. Let's just get to the final part. We've been on for almost an hour, bro. But let's get to the final part of get it off your chest, man. What do you want out there for people to know to get better? They either start doing stuff or stop doing shit. What do you got?
The biggest one, man, I got is as a individual who trains. Whether you're an office worker, you're a cop, spending your hard-earned money to go out there. The biggest frustration that I see is people not vetting the instructors that they go to. And again, it's not meant to be an instructor war, credentials war, but people just don't realize the value and worth of instructors that you have out there. And it just, people that are instructors that shouldn't be, that's a gripe that's been on for a long time. It's not worth hitting again. But if you're really going to go and spend $300, $400 plus the cost of travel, plus buying 500 rounds, 1,000 rounds, it's 2019 now. The internet's powerful. Get on there and research and get quality instructors who really know what they're talking about, have a proven track record with other students, have the credentials to go along with it. And not just find the closest instructor or the nearest instructor that you can, and throwing your money at them, and training with them, and you really didn't get the most that you could, right? Most people don't go and buy a car and walk onto a car lot and say, I'll take that one. They research it. They know what kind they want. They know what they're looking for. But I feel like in the firearms industry, most people, they don't do that. It's just like, oh, this guy's an instructor and he teaches guns. Okay, well, I'm going to go to him.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're doing themselves a disservice. We're never going to get people that shouldn't be instructors to stop being instructors. But if we can get people, i.e. the students, to be more selective in their pick of instructors, the customer drives the industry. You know what I mean? People vote with their dollar. People that are unqualified will slowly start to fade away. Because you got to think about it too. If I have instructor A that's going to teach me how to do firearms, is this the guy that I also want up on the stand if I ever have to use deadly force to defend myself, and I have to go through the hoopla of court, and this is the guy that instructed me? am I going to be proud to say this is my instructor based on his credentials, his professionalism, his tact, his personality, not some guy who's a hob job and is obnoxious on stand. You know what I'm saying? That's not pointed at any individual instructor in this industry, because there is hundreds of them out there where it's like there's better picks. And call me a little bit biased, but if you want a good starting point on where to pick, go look at the 11 that are at Symposium, you know.
Can't argue with that, brother. Can't argue with that. So awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. We'll just wrap it up. What's the website? Website, IG, and Facebook. Give it to me.
Shootersymposium.com is the heart of it all, right? That's where all the information is. On IG, we're just at the Ranch TX. We kind of put the stuff there, and then for Facebook, there is a specific group, Shooters Symposium, that we are also posting stuff up there. You'll notice it's been a little bit stagnant. Excuse me. You'll notice it's a little bit stagnant last couple of months, just as things have been kind of slow with the holiday seasons. But you'll notice that the postings on our social media will start to ramp up as we start pumping out more information as the event gets closer here.
This is the first step, right? It's the first step, man. New year. Everybody got their bills paid from the holidays, hopefully, knock on wood. And now we need to start planning for April.
And I will throw out there that Symposium is little over 2/3 full.
Woo! Already.
So I wouldn't, if you're looking at coming, I wouldn't procrastinate, because I've been doing classes for years. About this time, all the way up until go time, this is when people start to sign up again. And so also what you have to remember too is when an instructor sells out, he sells out. I can't put 35 guys in a class. It just doesn't disservice to everybody. So the sooner that you sign up, the higher likelihood that you'll be able to take every single class that you want to take with every instructor. If you're one of the guys that comes in on the end, there might be 3 or 4 guys that are sold out. There's nothing I can do about that. So if you're looking at,
sign up anyway. You're going to get great training.
I mean, regardless of who it is, you're not going to get any bad training with 11 guys. And the experience alone, I mean, as much training as it has, dudes just generally had a good time. I mean, it's almost like a 4-day mini vacation too. Coming out there and BSing and getting to joke with people and eating. I mean, all around, I promise you come out, you won't have a bad time.
Yeah. So some of my newest but best relationships I have, stem from Shooter Symposium last year. I think you and I talked about this. Mr. Moriarty, right, was one of my classes, and then his son, died in Afghanistan in 2016. Well, he was a unit mate of Drew Estelle. And Drew reached out to me, and now Drew and I are friends, and we're doing some collaboration on the side.
Yeah,
and then
you guys had got linked.
Yeah,
I saw you and Drew were doing, because I had Drew out a couple months ago.
Right.
I didn't know that's how that came to be.
Yeah, that's absolutely how it came to be. And then for some reason, everybody warned me about big bad Dan Brokos, and he either likes you or he doesn't. I got lucky because for some reason he likes me, and we're teaching a class together later on in April. So, good times, man. Damn. Yeah, like 2 weeks after, bro. It's going to be at the Northern Ohio Tactical Training Center. So what we're doing is a day and a half of my red dot, and then straight into urban gunfighter with red dot pistols, right?
Yeah,
so
I mean, it sounds all right. It sounds decent. It's not going to be nearly as cool as Symposium, but it sounds
no.
It'll be all right.
Well, we're piggybacking, bro. We're piggybacking. It's all good. It's all good. So, yeah. So anyway, dude, thanks again for inviting me last year. This year, it's going to be a great time. Guys, check this out. I mean, if you want an epic event, I can't think of one that's going to be more epic than this. So that being said, I'm not going to, guys, if you want to check out my schedule, I'm releasing these podcasts like one every other day because I'm like a kid with a gift, man. I want you to open it now, right? That being said, check out my schedule, Modern Samurai Project, hit classes. You'll find out about all this stuff. You'll also find the links in my schedule to Shooter Symposium in case you're too lazy and don't want to write stuff out. You can just hit a link. It'll send straight to Shockey's website there for the Shooter Symposium.
There's a contact page on there and stuff for guys a hold of me if they have questions. So
Outstanding. Well, again, thanks again, brother. And everybody
Yep.
else, remember the most important thing is be good, stay safe, get training.